Good morning. I hope you're all well and happy today. I'm going to give you a final flip through of these little journals at long last. I've made myself one and I've also made 12 others. 2 of them are already spoken for and I've got 5 to show you today, and the other 5 will be making their way into my Etsy shop over the next week. But if I show you these 5 first. So if you've watched my previous videos, you will know that I've named each of the journals. So this one is called Angelica. If I give you a close-up flip through of this one, and then I'll do a quick flip through of the others. So all of the journals are the same size and basically the same layout. They all have a different image on the front. So they all have a different little girl on the front. They all have a red velvet spine, and they all have a heat embossed image on the back. So they all have 3 signatures, a total of 72 sides of paper. So plenty of journaling space for over the Christmas period. So the size of the books, they are approximately 3 inches by 4.5 inches with a 1.25 inch spine. So that's about 32 millimeters by 116 millimeters by 76 millimeters. If you've watched my previous videos, you will have seen me making these books, so you'll already have a good idea of what's in them. I've added these metal book corners since I made my last video, so you won't have seen those. I think they just finish it off nicely. So let's give you a close-up of this book anyway. So there's the image on the front, absolutely beautiful, and I've stamped and heat embossed a gold scrolly leaf pattern there. All of the books have this eye added to the spine or loop, and they will have a similar tassel and their name tag. I've done some gold leaf around the edges. They're a board cover and they've been sealed with some sealer, so they'll be a bit more durable than they would be if it was just paper. So let's start the flip through. So inside, I've chosen a red floral end paper here, but each one has a different pattern for their end papers, and both the back and the front will be the same. Inside here I've clipped a little envelope, and in the envelope is just a note from the bookmaker. So I've tried to keep these journals as close as possible to a full-size journal. So the note from the bookmaker is just a scaled down copy of one that I would put in a full-size journal. In there. So the first page is some hand-dyed paper that I've embossed. You can see I've put some lace down behind the signatures. We have some tea-dyed paper with a snowflake image on it. Some old Christmas paper, well, vintage style. It isn't actually vintage. And that's just a fold out, and in that fold out there's, I've printed this image onto some vellum. I was inspired to make these books by a book that I used to read to my children when they were little. It was called The Jolly Pocket Postman. I don't know if you've come across it before, but it was, as I say, a children's book, and it had lots of little pockets in it with little notes and letters and things. But my children loved it. So this page here is a page out of a vintage book from 1952, and it is a book called The Snowflake. Here we just have some lined paper, and I've stamped an image of a snowflake on there. So here's the first of the pockets. I've tried to include as much journaling space as possible. So here we have just a Christmas pudding sitting on a plate. And that's just folded up and sits in that pocket. Across the top here I've stitched a piece of cotton ribbon with some snowflakes on it. In this pocket there's just a little postcard, and this is a vintage book page from a French book. On the top here I've stitched with gold thread a piece of silk seam binding. The other side of that book page. I've sewn a piece of lace down here, again with some gold thread. And this is a piece of tea-dyed paper with some silver swirls on it. I've stitched a piece of lace to the top corner here, and I have a little corner tuck here, and I've stenciled a gingerbread man here. So this is a gingerbread house. Each book has a different gingerbread house in it. And the little envelope just contains a die-cut Christmas ornament. But obviously you can put whatever you want into that. There's just a couple of bits tucked in that pocket. Here we have a piece of vintage music paper. I've reinforced the spine edge with a piece of washi tape. Lots of journaling space, some grid paper there, and no journal, even a mini journal, would be complete without a Edith Holden page. So here we have Edith Holden, and I've stamped some bells on the bottom there. In this pocket there's a little die-cut butterfly. Stitched pocket here, this is fabric, and it just has a die-cut Christmas tree in that pocket. And you can see that's the centre of the signature. So I think I mentioned there's 3 signatures in each book. So here's a pocket with just a little piece of a map in it. And if I'd been going through this with my children when they were little, I would have said this is a piece of Santa's map, so he can find where people live. I used to make up little stories like that. So that's just a piece of old map. It's very old, falling apart map. the other side of that Edith Holden page, and I've stamped a robin on there and painted his breast red with watercolour. Vintage music paper. There's a colouring page there, or a piece of a colouring page. Another little gingerbread man stamped here, and this little flap has a snowman behind it. This is fabric, has a gold edge, and I've stamped a deer on that page. This is just a cluster of paper, so it's mulberry silk tissue paper. You can see it's got some gold strands going through it and some gold swirls on this piece. And I just pop that over the top there. Here we have an embossed page, so it's tea-dyed paper, and I've embossed it with some Christmas images. Don't know if you can see that. This is an envelope that I've sewn into the signature, and I've stenciled a Christmas tree ornament on there. And that's a pocket. Some tea-dyed paper with a lacy image on it. Some lined paper. I've stamped Joy on the bottom there. This is a page from a vintage flower book. And here we have this centre of this signature with its pockets. In here I've just got my card, so it just says Tiki Handmade Journals Made in England, and I've signed it, and the book number is book number 5, and I've put 2023. This here is a little booklet I've made just with a postcard folded, and then I've added some various sheets of paper for some extra journaling space. This is a little tag that I've made and embossed, red on the back, piece of cotton baker's twine. You may have seen me make these in another video. So these are just little postcards with some gold leaf on them, and that sits in a gold doily pocket. I think I've skipped a bit there. Here we have a belly band that I've embossed, and behind the belly band is this piece of paper. So each one will have a different one. This is gingerbread with a festive image there. So I've used all different colour thread in the sewing throughout the book. This is the other side of that envelope that I've stitched in, and it's just a little fold out pocket. It has a few bits in it, so just some plain paper for journaling on, and this nice shiny piece of fabric mesh. So that just sits in there. On the other side here, I've just again stamped the book number and signed it, and that's the other side of that embossed tea-dyed paper, and then we're at the back of the book. I made these books to hang on the Christmas tree. I haven't put a closure on them, but if you wanted to tie them up, if they were getting a bit big, I will include a length of this organza ribbon. It's sort of a dark wine colour, so you can just tie the book up, and I'll also include this piece of ribbon to hang it from the Christmas tree. So they look really lovely, I think, hanging from the tree. With mine, I decided I'm going to use it over several years, so I will just do a page of journaling, maybe on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, for several years. So I'll include, I've printed out this piece of paper, so it has the dates 23, 24, 25, 26, and then Christmas Day, Christmas Eve, Boxing Day. And I thought you could just snip these into little labels, and use them to help with your journaling. So you can stick them on the page and then write about your special memories from the day, or special gifts that you had, or all the special people that were with you. That's what I'll do with mine anyway. So I have in mind that each year I will hang it on the Christmas tree and do a bit of journaling over the Christmas period, and then I will keep that forever and look back at it to remember those years. Maybe stick some photos in there, just as you would in a big journal, but on a smaller scale. So anyway, that's Angelica. I've made these little tags, no, they're not tags, little strips of paper, and I've put the name of the next book on there. So the next one will be Faith. Don't know if that's... So the next one will be Faith. And I'll just pop that in the back of the book while I'm doing the flip through, so that it's displayed and you'll know which book I'm looking at. So the next one we're going to go through, but I'll make it much quicker, will be Faith. Just a couple of things I don't think I mentioned before I start going through this journal. So all the signatures are sewn in with waxed linen thread. Some of them have green waxed linen thread, like this one, and some of them will have red, like this one. Also, each of the books will be sent out in a little bag. They'll come with a little bag. So it's a little cotton cloth bag, like this one. Won't be the same as this, or maybe the same as this, but some will be slightly different. So it's just a little drawstring bag, and it's just the right size to slip your book into for storage. I'll also include, as I said, this piece of paper to help with your journaling, and a couple of other bits that you may find useful when you're filling up your journals. Okay, I'm just going to flip through these as quickly as possible. I'll try not to talk too much. I'm sure you're fed up with the sound of my voice. So this first one is Faith. Pretty little blonde girl. I've made these, I don't know if I mentioned, but I've made these just to slip in here to identify the book whilst I'm flipping through, so you can see which book we're looking at. Okay, so we have the metal book corners, the stamp here that has been embossed with heat embossing, some gold embossing powder on there, and on the back too, some gold leaf around the edge. So that's the same on all books. I've done the same process. It gives a really nice finish. So So I'll just do a very quick flip through and you will see that they are all fairly similar. Well, this one has an extra little bit because I stupidly sewed the page in upside down. So I've just put that over to cover. So here you can see the label of the plant, which I stuck on, is upside down. For the rest of the page it doesn't matter, it's just that label that's upside down. So I was going to stick something over it to cover it up, but I thought I'd leave that to the person that owns this book to decide whether they wanted to do that or not. So I've just included this little page and this clip to cover it up for now. I mean, if it was my one, it actually wouldn't bother me. But if it bothers you, obviously you can stick something over the top of it to cover it up. But for now, I've just clipped that on there. You'll see this piece of lace appears at different places in the different books, but they all have the same content, just in different positions. There, so that's Faith, book number 6. one has some gold leaf on the embossed page. You see they all have subtle differences. Oh, sorry, that's my husband's phone ringing. There, so that's holly. So you see they are all very similar. But each one has its own unique features. So this is Christabel. So no two covers will be the same. I think I mentioned that before. And also the end papers are different. The envelopes have different style numbers on them, made of different paper. And obviously all the hand-dyed papers are different. So that's Christabel. So the last book in these first 5 is Trinity. So hopefully I'll get these in my Etsy shop either later today, but certainly over the weekend. And then I'll get the other 5 finished and get them onto my Etsy shop next week. I'll miss these when they're gone. They seem to have been in my life for a very long time. I think I started them at the end of September. It's surprising how long they take. Being small, you think it will be quicker, but I'm not sure it is. Very enjoyable though. I have enjoyed making them. I'm very happy with how they've turned out. I'm so looking forward to putting my one on the Christmas tree. So that's Trinity. As I said, I'll try and get these into my Etsy shop over the weekend. And I think I mentioned I'll send them with a piece of ribbon, a couple of pieces of ribbon, so that you can tie them up and hang them from the Christmas tree. Anyway, look out for these in my Etsy shop, and I'll also be adding some more soon, and then I'll be able to hopefully focus on making a couple of full-size journals. I'm not sure if I'll get that done, but I'm going to try. These took a bit longer than I expected, but I'm very happy with them, and I hope you like them too. If you have any questions, then just ask in the comments or message me on Etsy, and I'll be happy to help you. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.